Asian Development Bank forecasts Vietnam's GDP to grow by 6.1% this year. Segmentation and integration opportunities for Vietnam's labor market in 2015. Hello, you're with me, Ling Hung from Hanoi, and welcome to Bizline, brought to you by VTV International. As usual, we'll start with several highlights in the economic scene for the past week. State President Trương Tấn Sang concluded his official visit to Laos People's Democratic Republic on March 25th. During the visit last week, State President Sang met with the Vietnamese business community in Laos, encouraging them to complete their investment projects to meet targeted schedule. President Sang expressed his appreciation for the business community for their contributions in improving the economic ties between Laos and Vietnam. The two countries have set the bilateral trade target of $2 billion by the end of this year. President of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee Nguyễn Thiện Nhân chaired a Vietnam-India Business Forum in New Delhi on March 21st during his official visit to India. The two sides proposed plans to work more closely in human resources training and sharing experiences in agriculture while enhancing cooperation in production and export to a third country. India has become one of Vietnam's 10 largest trade partners, with two-way trade hitting $5.6 billion last year. The Asian Development Bank, or ADB, published its annual Asian Development Outlook supplement on March 24th. The report shows Vietnam's GDP forecast to grow at 6.1% for this year and 6.2% in 2016. This year's inflation forecast is predicted to increase 2.5% and accelerate to 4% in 2016 as domestic demand and world oil prices rises. The ADB said that Vietnam's economy would improve thanks to the improvement of the U.S. economy, which is Vietnam's largest export market, while benefiting from lower world oil prices. The Ministry of Finance recently approved a plan to abolish and simplify 46 kinds of customs and taxation procedures as part of its efforts to improve the country's competitiveness. The ministry plans to reduce the procedure time for tax and customs to the average level of ASEAN 6 countries by the end of this year and to the level of ASEAN 4 by 2016. Vietnam's total loans rose 14.16% to $254.7 billion in 2014, up from an earlier estimate of 13%. The figures were recently released by the State Bank of Vietnam. Bad debts in the banking system edged up to 3.88% of total loans as of November 2014, from 3.87% the previous month. Vietnam has projected that loans will rise 13 to 15% this year, but it could raise the lending growth target to 17% to ensure economic growth of more than 6%. The 2015 World Security Conference and Expo took place in Hanoi on March 25th, allowing for in-depth discussions to help government agencies, organizations, and businesses update technology trends and implement information security risk management solutions to ensure a high level of Internet security. According to a recent report by Kaspersky Security, Vietnam ranks 6th globally in the list of countries where users are most attacked by malware. Security risk is at an alarming rate, with nearly 50% of users at risk of malware infection while using the Internet. Quảng Nam Province People's Committee granted investment licenses for 12 projects on Monday, March 24th. On the same day, Chu Lai Open Economic Zones Management began construction on road to Tam Thang Industrial Zone in Tam Kỳ City on Monday. Tam Thang Industrial Zone will cover 200 hectares with a total investment of $16 million. Quảng Nam Province will invest $19 million on infrastructure between 2016 and 2020 to connect itself with the Chu Lai Economic Zone. In its latest proposals to the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Transport outlined the transfer of operating rights at Phu Quoc International Airport to the private sector and to draw capital and turn it into investment for the Long Thanh International Airport. After the transfer, the state will maintain authorization over matters of security, customs, immigration, service quality and control of the airspace. Private investors will be granted the rights to operate terminals, infrastructure and services. We've just reviewed several economic and business highlights for the past week. Up next, we'll talk about the current and future picture of Vietnam's human resources in our crosstalk. Human resources is always the key to maintaining and developing a business. In a more open economy and competitive market, the element of human resources is valued even more, especially with management-level positions. Furthermore, Vietnam will witness a deep integration into the regional and international economy through the ASEAN Economic Community and the signings of many free trade agreements. Therefore, the labor market picture promises a great deal of development. We will talk more about this topic today with our guest, Ms. Nguyễn Thị Vân Anh, Managing Director at Navigo Search Vietnam, a provider of executive search and management consultancy services. Before we begin, let's take a look at the following.
Figures from the General Statistics Office show that Vietnam's labor force stands at 54.3 million as of the third quarter of 2014. This represents a 0.84% year-on-year growth. The majority of job growth was concentrated in the manufacturing and construction sectors, with the labor force participation rate remaining high at around 78%. In terms of integration, Vietnam can expect to add 10.5% more jobs by 2025 after the ASEAN Economic Community comes into being. This is according to a forecast by the International Labour Organization from late last year. Moreover, Vietnam's large labor force will be at an advantage when it joins future free trade agreements.
Well, Ms. Vân Anh, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, first of all, what's your take on the labor market for the first few months of 2015, and which business sectors have the highest demand for employees at the moment?
I think it's still quite early to tell about the trends of this year. But so far, for the past 3 months, we haven't seen so much differences compared to last year. For the past 3 years, I think the strongest area is the manufacturing. It has reasons like, Chinese economy is slowing down, so a lot of foreign investment is, transferring and moving to Vietnam as well. At the same time, Vietnam is improving the investment environment as well with the policies and promotions. So the companies that are in Vietnam are also expanding the manufacturing. So the strongest area is manufacturing, and the second strong area is also consumer goods, like fast consumer goods and retails, wholesales. Recently, there have been a lot of merge and acquisition activities in the retails and wholesales area, which I expect that there will be more demands and competitions in that area as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there a tough competition among recruiters for high-quality personnel? And if there is, are there any solutions to this?
Apparently, yeah. Mm-hmm. There is the strong competitions in that because the supply is quite small. So companies have to have the strategies to compete for those talented and highly qualified candidates. I always advise companies to invest in their employer branding. So employer branding is how do you want to be known in the market. For some company, they want to be known as the highest payer in the market. Other companies, they want to be known as the great environment to work for. So invest in your employer branding to attract talents. That's quite a sustainable and long-term strategies. When I talk to a lot of clients, I also advise them not always buy talents, but you have to build talents. So buy talents is quite short and medium term. Bear in mind that when you can buy it at a certain price, your competitors can pay higher to get that talent as well. So that's why it's not long-term. The long-term model, you need to build. Building here, you need to provide a career development plan for your employees the moment that the candidates step in and become your employees. So how you want to grow the employees in the future. So you have to invest in career advancement, career progressions. You have to invest in staff retention, engagement, so that employees and especially talented employees stay with you for a long time and be motivated to contribute more to the businesses. So that's built a model, and it's quite long-term and strategic and sustainable.
According to a report by Navigos Search Vietnam, from the fourth quarter of 2014, the top 3 sectors in need of executive personnel were manufacturing, FMCG retail, and information technology. As a member of the Vietnamese IT giant FPT Corporation, FPT Information Systems has an increasing demand for upper management positions. As such, it has been trying to fill about 10 country manager positions as part of the country's global expansion plan.
Nhân tài thì rất nhiều, nhưng nhân tài dùng cho vị trí nào ở đâu thì mới bị giới hạn. Ví dụ một ứng viên mà có kinh nghiệm cũng như năng lực cũng như cái thể hiện cái thành tích kinh doanh ở thị trường Việt Nam rất tốt. Tuy nhiên hiện như tôi vừa chia sẻ là chúng tôi định hướng toàn cầu hóa, cho nên đôi khi là những ứng viên ấy sẽ trở thành những người chưa đáp ứng được đầy đủ. Ở đây rào cản là gì? Là văn hóa, là ngôn ngữ, là cái sự hiểu biết cái môi trường kinh doanh ở bên các nước mà công ty định hướng đến.
Also, according to Navigos Search, finance, banking, and insurance ranked high in terms of the demand for executive personnel. Techcombank, for example, currently employs a staff of 7,000. As it adopts international standards and practices, the need for high qualifying staff rises.
Nhân lực của ngành tài chính ngân hàng Việt Nam hiện nay đang thừa về số lượng nhưng thiếu về chất lượng. Riêng đối với cán bộ quản lý cấp trung và cao cấp thì chúng tôi thấy rằng thiếu cả về số lượng và chất lượng. Đối với đội ngũ chuyên gia thì thực sự khan hiếm trên thị trường hiện nay.
Both companies stress that the only sustainable solution is to invest in corporate training.
Đối với công tác quản trị nguồn nhân lực thì Techcombank đang dần chuyển từ chiến lược từ buy sang build. Điều đó có nghĩa là Techcombank đang giảm bớt việc tuyển các nhân sự cao cấp từ bên ngoài mà tập trung vào hướng vào phát triển cái đội ngũ nhân lực hiện tại bằng các cái chương trình chuyên biệt dành cho những cái phân khúc nhân tài khác nhau. Đối với quản lý cao cấp thì chúng tôi Techcombank đầu tư xây dựng chương trình Techcom League với sự tư vấn của McKinsey và được triển khai hơn 5 năm với mỗi năm thu hút được 68 học viên tham gia.
Chúng tôi từ trước giờ áp dụng rất nhiều những cái biện pháp để thứ nhất là nuôi dưỡng đào tạo cũng như là thu hút và tuyển dụng những nhân tài ở bên ngoài về. Thì chúng tôi đánh giá và chúng tôi nhận thức được rằng là gì? Là không ai hiểu mình hơn chính mình. Thế cho nên là chúng tôi đặt cái vấn đề mà đào tạo nội bộ lên hàng đầu để có thể đáp ứng cái nhu cầu phát triển của công ty.
Among growing competition, more and more businesses in Vietnam are recognizing the importance of recruitment and talent retention.
Based on Navigos Search and Navigos Group's insights, what can you say about the quality of Vietnamese labor market personnel and in particular the managerial level positions?
Let's talk about good things first. Vietnam has a quite young population, so we often call it a golden age populations. So it's really an advantage of our economy. So that's good, and our people are willing to learn and learning quite quickly as well. So that's the common feedback about our human resource by most of the employers and investors who came to Vietnam. However, there are some areas that the foreign investors are, talked a lot and expected that we need to improve on. For example, the soft skills area. The managerial level people of Vietnam tend to be quite strong in technical skills. And they are not so strong in soft skills like management skills, communication skills, problem-solving skills, and project management skills. And I think that has reasons, and the reasons are linked to the educational and training systems in Vietnam. In the business world, it seems that the soft skills are really, and in some cases, are even more important than the technical skills.
Especially at the managerial positions.
Especially right? At the managerial level. Because when you are in a managerial positions, your job is to work with people. Your job is to hire the right people and how to make use of the capabilities of the team that you are working with. So it's really critical.
This course provides training on production management for on-site factory managers, supervisors and technicians. Most of the learners come from small and medium-sized manufacturers in northern Vietnam. Here, they gain knowledge and experience from Japanese experts.
Hiện nay là cái doanh nghiệp mình đang gặp phải các vấn đề nhất là cái chi phí sản xuất cao, năng suất lao động thấp. Thì theo mình thì những cái kỹ năng để mà tạo động lực cho nhân viên làm việc, tăng được năng suất lao động và giảm chi phí sản xuất cũng như là giảm được tỷ lệ hàng lỗi cũng là những cái điều rất quan trọng trong sản xuất.
Hiện tại thì cái vị trí của mình đấy là lập kế hoạch sản xuất cho công nhân, thì mình cũng tiếp thu được những kinh nghiệm, đó là loại bỏ những cái lãng phí này và làm thế nào để tăng được cái năng suất lao động cho công nhân.
This is among the courses held by the Vietnam-Japan Human Resources Cooperation Center, or VJCC. Most of the lecturers are or were business executives from elite Japanese companies. As such, learners benefit from gaining a practical perspective.
Chính những cái người mà họ đã chủ động, những cái cán bộ quản lý, có thể nói ở đây là các giám đốc, các cái chủ tịch của một cái doanh nghiệp nào đó, thì họ đã chủ động tìm đến VJCC để tìm ra cái phương thức, cái mô típ sản xuất theo cái know-how, tức là cái bí quyết của Nhật Bản. Và chính cái sự nhận thức đó làm cho họ có một cái sự thay đổi rõ rệt.
One thing I have to mention is not the lack of knowledge, but probably the shortage of the practice. And in the past, Japan just learned from the United States after World War II. Then 30 years or 20 years, Japan mastered and created its own way. So I think that can be said for Vietnamese people too. They can learn from Japan and they can surpass Japan.
Whether through in-house training or attending external courses, Vietnamese professionals are presented with diverse options to develop their technical skills, soft skills, and command of foreign languages.
Now, let's take a look at the near future. What factors of the economy will change the context of the labor market in 2015, in your opinion?
From this year, the Vietnam economy will integrate more into the region. There will be more opportunities for local Vietnamese, for talented and great local Vietnamese to work overseas. Mm-hmm. But in that case, companies are worried as well. Mm-hmm. Because in that case, then, if a lot of talented Vietnamese people and go and leave Vietnam and work overseas, that is brain draining. So it's also a concern for the employers as well. But there were also more opportunities for expats, candidates in the regions to come to Vietnam and apply for jobs here in Vietnam.
When the ASEAN Economic Community is established, there will be a free movement of labor in 8 professions: accounting, architecture, dentistry, engineering, medical practices, nursing, surveying, and tourism. Do you think that this will affect Vietnam's labor market in a significant way?
I think it gives employers in Vietnam, especially the foreign employers, more options when it comes to appointing, manager levels or the qualified candidates. So now they can choose either people coming from, other ASEAN countries. However, when the foreign invested enterprises, when they come to Vietnam, they still expect to work with local Vietnamese. Why? Because we know our market. We know how the systems are working here. We speak the language, so they still need a kind of a local matter in hiring local people. Even if hiring people coming from other ASEAN countries, they are still expat, and it takes them some time for them to learn and understand the local environment here. So,
now, could you share with us your experience in helping foreign employers recruit Vietnamese managers and vice versa? Is there any particular things that job seekers and employers should look out for?
Okay, that's our job actually. We are helping our clients who are mainly foreign companies to hire local labor in Vietnam. Usually, they will expect to hire people with experience, can speak the language, whether it is English, majority is English, and whether Japanese company, they might expect to have Japanese-speaking employees. So those are the experienced staff. For the managers level staff, they would expect someone who comes in with experience in management, excellence of fluent in English or foreign languages, have a proven track records. I mean, the people must, if it's a project manager, then the person must, managed projects or number of projects with success in the past. Besides all of the hard skills, they are also looking at candidates as look at their personalities, whether the candidates are willing to learn, whether the candidates are, integrity people, honest people, So those are the skills and the characteristics that foreign employers are looking from local Vietnamese candidates.
Hank has successfully found a job via Career Builder, a multinational online recruitment site. She switched her job in a local human resource company for an executive position in an international company.
Tiêu chí tìm việc của tôi thì cũng khá là đơn giản, làm sao để có một công việc làm việc xứng đáng. Điều này thì nó không chỉ là một cái mức lương thực sự cạnh tranh, mà nó còn là một cái môi trường làm việc tốt, cũng như là làm sao để mà có được cái cơ hội để mình có thể thăng tiến. Và đặc biệt hơn nữa, tôi cũng mong muốn là mình có thể đặt mục tiêu cho riêng mình là sẽ có một cơ hội làm việc tại Singapore trong thời gian gần nhất, hoặc là xa hơn thì có thể là Mỹ.
Indeed, for high-qualified human resources in Vietnam, the opportunities from integration are growing. Particularly with the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community, more and better paid jobs can be expected.
Cái thu nhập bình quân của lao động Việt Nam hiện nay đang khá thấp với 181 đô la. Nó chỉ bằng một nửa của Thái Lan. Thái Lan hiện nay nó là 357 đô. Và Singapore thì đặc biệt là cao với 3.547 đô. Tôi nghĩ đấy là cái khoảng cách rất lớn về thu nhập bình quân. Và đây sẽ, với sự ra đời của cộng đồng kinh tế ASEAN, sẽ tạo ra một cái cơ hội không chỉ về nghề nghiệp, tăng về số lượng, mà sẽ tăng cả về cái cơ hội thu nhập cho những cái lao động chất lượng cao.
The opportunities for foreign job seekers in Vietnam will also expand, according to global professional services firm Towers Watson.
Cái nguồn cung của những cái người lao động cấp cao không phải là người Việt Nam, từ các nước khác trong khu vực như Ấn Độ, Philippines, Bangladesh chẳng hạn, cũng sẽ là một cái nguồn cung cấp mới. Đây là lúc mà cái vai trò lãnh đạo thể hiện ở cái việc giữ chân và thu hút họ.
By opening up to the regional and global economies, Vietnam faces a bigger pool of supply and demand for its labor market. Should both sides meet at the right time and right place, the benefits for the economy would be considerable.
So in the long run, what should employers in Vietnam, both domestic employers and foreign employers, do about their strategic plan for human resources?
First of all, they need to have the right people in the right place. Hiring the right people needs the focus and needs the attentions of the management team. So I talk to a lot of clients, and they think that's the jobs of human resource department, and that's not right. Mm-hmm. It's the part of top management team to get the right people in place. So once you have the right people in place, you need to have a training and development system so that you can help people grow. Also, you need to be rewarded well as well. So you have to look at the compensation and benefits activities of your companies. You need to be competitive. Human resource management needs to be very strategic, and it has a lot of activities, and it's the attention and focus at the top management. It's not the job of the human resource department.
So how about job seekers? Do you have any specific advice to them?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, think long term and know what you are, doing. And once you are in the job, just do your best. Keep learning, keep asking, and always striving and always improving to do the things better. I believe that once you think seriously about the profession that you are in, you have the aptitude for it, you work for it, then the employers will see your attitude, will see your, that you are working so hard and improving every day. Especially the young people, I think when they hear about successful stories from successful people, they always see the top of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. Actually, below it, there's a lot of hard working, there's a lot of sacrifice, and
a lot of failures.
A lot of failures as well. Mm-hmm. But and they learn from it. So think long term. Don't think so short term and cutting short in everything. So that's my advice.
Well, Ms. Van Ang, it's a pleasure to have you with us in our show today.
Thank you very much for spending time with me. Thanks.
Joining the global supply chain means more opportunities for companies to branch out and compete for the international market shares. As competition gets fiercer, besides technology and capital, investment in manpower, especially managerial positions, is even more crucial. Good people will know how to turn challenges into opportunities, and that will maximize the benefits for the companies. Whether or not the companies can reap the benefits of global integration will depend greatly on how they reward the human capital. And that wraps up this edition of Bizline. Thank you very much for being with us. Remember that you can just log on to our website, vtv4.vn, or youtube.com/vtv4go to rewatch our programs. And for now, goodbye from Hanoi.